Hello, welcome to your practice. Today we're going to do a practice that's going to work the upper body, lower body, and my goal is that you will feel fabulous after you're done. So my reading today is from Eckhart Tolle, and it says, "The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. Be aware of the thoughts you are thinking. Separate them from the situation, which is always neutral, which always is as it is. There is the situation or the fact, and here are my thoughts about it. Instead of making up stories, stay with the facts. For example, I am ruined is a story. It limits you and prevents you from taking effective action. I have 50 cents left in my bank account is a fact. Facing facts is always empowering. Be aware that what you think, to a large extent, creates the emotions that you feel. See the link between your thinking and your emotions. Rather than being your thoughts and emotions, be the awareness behind them." So it's always easier said than done to be the awareness and not be the thoughts, not be absorbed by the thoughts, but that's our goal. So today we're going to get started on our back. Let's start with the knees bent. Let's start with the palms up. We'll roll the shoulders down, tuck the chin slightly, and just start to feel the weight of the body even on both the right side and the left side, the right shoulder and the left shoulder. See that the head feels pretty even and not leaning more to one side or the other. The hips feel level and the weight feels even in the feet. We'll take 3 nice slow breaths. Inhale, let the belly rise. Exhale, let the belly fall. Inhale, let the belly rise. Exhale, belly falls. One more nice slow breath. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. Good. Wiggle the fingers and just move the knees and the hips a little side to side. And then we'll bring the knees to center. We'll warm up the legs, hips, low back. So inhale, with your exhale, bring the right knee into the chest. We'll hug the knee. Lengthen the back of the neck. Take a couple breaths here with the right knee hugged into the belly. And then we'll stretch the right foot up to the ceiling. We'll circle the right ankle in one direction, nice and slow. Let the toes wiggle a bit. Let's circle in the opposite direction. We'll point and flex the right foot. Feeling that nice stretch all the way down the back of the leg. Keep the right foot flexed. Inhale, with your exhale, bring the right knee into the chest. Keep the right foot flexed. Inhale, with your exhale, lift your head up towards the right knee. Shoulders down, neck long, big breaths into the low belly. Let's just keep the left knee bent, left foot on the floor. And keep that belly button pulling down towards the spine. Waistline presses down towards the floor. And keep the shoulders relaxing. Inhale, lower the head. We'll bring the right foot to the mat. With both feet on the floor, we'll rock the hips side to side. Bring the knees to center. Inhale, with your exhale, left knee comes into the chest. Hug the knee. Lengthen the back of the neck. Relax the shoulders. We'll take a couple nice breaths here. We'll stretch the left foot up to the ceiling. Circle the left ankle in one direction. Let the toes move around a bit. Let's go in the opposite direction. We'll point and flex the left foot. Now getting a nice stretch all the way down that left leg. Keep the left foot flexed. Inhale, with your exhale, bring the left knee back into the chest. Left foot stays flexed. Inhale, and with your exhale, lift your head up towards the left knee. Shoulders down, neck long. Big breaths into the low belly. We'll keep our right knee bent, right foot on the floor. As we keep that waistline pressing towards the floor and the belly button pulls down towards the spine. Big breaths into the low belly. Inhale, lower the head. We'll bring left foot to the mat. Both feet on the floor. We'll rock the hips side to side. So it's just a little rocking motion. We're not going into a twist, just a little massage on that low back. Bring the knees to center. Inhale. With your exhale, both knees come into the chest. Hug the knees. We'll roll the whole back side to side. Shoulders and hips roll. Let the back of the head roll on the mat if you like. That can help reduce tension in the scalp, in the eyes, in the jaw, in the neck itself. Or the head can just stay centered and looking up towards the ceiling. So see what you like best. Bring the knees to center. Stretch both feet up to the ceiling, feet hip width apart, feet flexed. We're going to hold here for a moment. Just let the legs work. Let the thighs work. Let the calves get a stretch. Belly button pulls down towards the spine. And the legs are just working to keep the feet lifted here. So we'll just hold here for a couple breaths. And then we'll go into a yoga walk. One knee bends, opposite foot stretches up to the ceiling. Good, nice and slow. Try to let the whole back of the leg stretch out. So maybe the foot has to move a little bit away from you. Instead of straight up towards the ceiling, maybe it moves a little bit away at an angle so you can get a nice extension on the whole back of the leg. Keep that waistline pressing towards the floor. Abdominals engaged. Good. Let's bring both knees back into the chest. Feet are flexed. Hug the knees. Inhale. With your exhale, lift your head up towards the knees. Shoulders down, neck long. Couple nice, big, slow breaths here into the low belly. Inhale, lower the head. Use your strong abdominals. Don't let the back arch. We're going to bring the feet down to the mat. They can come down one at a time if you need. Once the feet are down on the mat, separate them about hip width apart. We'll rock the hips a little side to side. Good. Bring the knees to center. One at a time, stretch the legs out. Stretch both arms up overhead. And then we'll reach the right side a little longer, left side a little longer, right side a little longer, left side a little longer. Get the legs and hips working. So the shoulders moving a little, hips moving a little bit, arms get longer, legs get longer. And then stretch both arms and both legs equally. And then exhale, bring arms down by your side. Rebend the knees, feet on the floor. We're going to work on a pelvic tilt. So our pelvic tilt is with breath. So the inhale, we press the tailbone down into the mat and the waistline lifts up. So I can slide my hand actually under my waist. And then exhale, press your waistline down in the mat. So now we're pressing, not even a piece of paper could slide under your waist. And we'll go back and forth between those 2 points. Inhale, tailbone presses down, the waist lifts up. Exhale, waist presses down. So inhale, waistline lifts up. Exhale, waistline presses down. Back and forth with breath. So loosening up that low back, working on the hips, working on the core a bit. Good, then come to neutral. One at a time, stretch the legs out again. Inhale, arms up overhead. Reach the right side a little longer, left side a little longer, right side a little longer, left side a little longer. Good, both arms even. Let's bring the arms down by your side. So we're going to work on lifting the right hip and left hip. We're going to keep the legs stretched out on the mat. And we're going to press the right hip down into the floor and lift the left hip up. So your left hip, I could slide my hand under that low back and that left hip. Then press the left hip down and the right hip lifts. So I can slide fingers under that right side. And so we're just going to go side to side, lifting the right hip, lifting the left hip. And the knees stay pointing up towards the ceiling. I'm kind of pressing the backs of the legs into the floor as I tilt the hips from side to side. One hip lifts, the other hip presses down, the opposite hip lifts, and the other hip presses down. So just kind of side to side. Good. And then relax that. Bend the knees, hug the knees, bring the knees into the chest, roll side to side. So just kind of working the legs, the low back, the hips in a little bit different way. Bring the knees to center, use your abdominals, bring the feet down to the mat. So we're gonna work on a pelvic clock. And as if our pelvis is a clock face, the tailbone will be 12 o'clock and the waistline will be 6 o'clock. The right hip is 3 o'clock, the left hip is 9 o'clock. So we're gonna go back and forth between 12 and 6. So we'll inhale, tailbone presses down, 12 o'clock. Exhale, waist presses down, 6 o'clock. So back and forth between those two, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Just like we did earlier with that pelvic tilt, we're just giving it the numbers of 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Now you're gonna come to neutral, right in the middle where the hands of the clock would meet. And we're gonna go right and left like we did when our legs were stretched out. We're trying to keep our knees pointing up towards the ceiling. So we're gonna bring some weight into that right hip, and the left hip lifts up a little. My fingers can kind of slide underneath. And then I'm bringing weight into the left hip, and the right hip lifts up a little. I can bring the fingers, they can slide underneath. So we're gonna go side to side. Right hip presses down, that's 3 o'clock on our pelvic clock, and left hip presses down, that's 9 o'clock. So going side to side, but try to keep those knees pointing straight. We don't want the knees swaying side to side. So just kind of like we were doing with our legs stretched out. We're going weight into the right hip, weight into the left hip. It's a small movement, so we're not overdoing it, trying not to over move, but we're trying to isolate the movement in the pelvis. Then we're going to come to neutral, right where the hands would meet on the clock, and we're going to go around the clock clockwise direction, and we're going to pause at each number. And you might find a certain number is hard to put weight into. You can't get some movement there, so that's where you need a little bit of work. So we're going to go nice and slow. We're going to pause at each number, and we're going to try to put weight, just like we did weight in the 12 o'clock, weight in the 6, weight in the 3, weight in the 9. We're going to try to do that with each number. So we're going to inhale, tailbone presses down, that's 12 o'clock, and then move slightly over to the right and try to put weight where the number 1 would be, and then weight where the number 2 would be. And now the right side is down, that's number 3 on the clock. And then trying to find number 4 on the clock, number 5, try to put weight into number 5, and then number 6, your waistline pressing down. We're gonna move to the left and try to put weight in number 7, weight in number 8, weight in number 9, that left hip is down, and then number 10 on the clock, number 11 on the clock, and we're back to 12, tailbone pressing down. So we're gonna go nice and slow in that clockwise direction again. Go at your own pace, pause at each number. If you find a number or set of numbers where you feel like you can't put weight into or you can't get some movement, then go to the number before it and the number after it, and back and forth to it to loosen up those ligaments, tendons, all that connective tissue, the fascia. So nice and slow, start that clockwise circle one last time, trying to put a little weight into each number on our pelvic clock. Try not to let the knees sway too much or move too much. Try to keep the knees pretty much pointing up towards the ceiling. And then we'll come to 12 o'clock. Once you're at 12 o'clock, hug the knees into the chest. We're gonna roll side to side. Good. We're gonna bring the knees to center. Use your abdominals, feet come down to the mat. And we're going to take our circles in a counterclockwise direction. So feet hip width apart. We're going to inhale, tailbone presses down. That's our 12 o'clock. We're going to move to the left and try to put weight where your number 11 would be And then number 10, number 9, that left hip, left side's pressing down. Try to find number 8, number 7, 6, waistline pressing down, moving to the right, number 5, number 4, number 3, right hip, right side is down, number 2, number 1, we pause at each number, we're back at 12. We're going to take those counterclockwise circles 2 more times. So going nice and slow at your own pace, trying to pause at each number. Going this way now, if you find a number that's hard to put weight into it, just go to the number before it and back to it a couple times to loosen that up. And don't worry if you don't get all the way around counterclockwise and clockwise, at the same time I did. So any kind of little movement here is great, no matter if you only get around 1 time or 2 or 1.5. Just going at your own pace and feeling and breathing. So working your last way counterclockwise. Keep those knees fairly neutral. Once you're back at 12, we'll bring the knees into the chest, hug the knees, we'll roll side to side. So that pelvic clock is amazing for the low back. Do it every day if you can, it doesn't take that long. Use your abdominals, we're gonna bring the feet down to the mat. Bring hands to opposite shoulders, elbows crossed on top of your chest. Inhale with your exhale, lift the head and chest up. We're gonna roll side to side. Let your knees go the same direction as the shoulders, so getting a little massage in that mid back. And then little by little start to lower the upper back down as you roll side to side. So working a little massage all the way up into that mid back, into the shoulders. Eventually let your head be on the mat as you roll side to side. Knees go the same direction as the shoulders. Good, bring everything to center. Arms come down by your side. Let's bring the arms out into a T position. So knees still bent, feet on the floor. Arms out wide, palms are up. Inhale, and as you exhale, bring the hands up. The palms will touch, the hands will be over the chest. And then inhale, we're gonna open the arms out wide into a T position. Exhale and close. So nice and slow, we're working the upper back and shoulders. Inhale when the arms open. Exhale when they close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Keep the palms together, keep the hands up. Now interlace the fingers, keep the arms straight, and imagine that you're stirring a pot. So keeping the arms straight, and you have a really long wooden spoon and you're stirring a pot. So we're making these circles above the chest and above the head. So it's kind of working the shoulders and that upper back. And let's take those circles in the opposite direction. Arms stay straight. We're circling up overhead over the chest. Bring the hands to center. Arms come down by your side. One at a time, stretch the legs out. Stretch the arms up overhead, and we'll stretch the side body again. Stretch the right side longer, left side longer. Right side longer, left side longer. Get the hips involved, the legs involved. Good, that whole side body getting a stretch. Arms come to center, exhale, arms down by your side. So we're gonna go into a pose called rainbow, which is fabulous for the upper back and shoulders. So we're gonna lie down on our left side and maybe have a blanket or a pillow for your head. Our arms are gonna be out in a T position. So we can put that pillow or that blanket under the head. Left arm is out in a T position. Our knees are stacked and my heels are in line with my hips. So my feet aren't forward and my feet aren't way back. So knees bent, knees stacked up on top of each other, heels in line with the tailbone or with the hips. Right arm's gonna come on top, so right palm on top of left palm. I'm gonna walk those right fingers just a little bit past the left one so I can touch the floor. And then nice and slow, I'm gonna try to keep these right fingertips grazing the floor, and I'm going to trace a rainbow up over my head. At a certain point, you're going to have to turn the right palm up and turn the chest. We're drawing this half circle, this rainbow up overhead. So now my chest is up towards the ceiling. My right arm's at a T position behind me. And I'm going to retrace that rainbow up overhead. So I'm trying to keep my fingertips of the right hand grazing the floor. We'll do that 2 more times, nice and slow. Your arm might even have to come up. Maybe your hand can't reach the floor, so perfectly fine. And then at some point, turn your palm up, turn your chest up, and let that right arm come back behind you. Nice and slow, retrace. Don't worry if the right hand has to come up off the floor, that's okay. If you do this a little bit each day, you'll find that those fingertips can stay grazing, brushing the floor. So last time, wherever you're at, bring that right palm back to meet the left. Good. We're going to roll over onto our back, and we're going to do the other side. So we're going to roll onto our right side, readjust that cushion or that blanket under your head. Your right palm's out in a T position, knees are stacked, and heels are in line with my tailbone. Left palm on top of right, left fingers just a little bit past so I can feel the floor, and nice and slow, I'm going to bring that left arm up overhead. Try to keep those fingers touching the floor. It's fine if they lift up. At a certain point, turn the palm up and turn the chest up towards the ceiling. Now my left hand is back behind me in a T position. I'm going to retrace that rainbow, trying to keep my fingers touching the floor. It's okay if that arm is just hovering. We'll do that 2 more times. So even if that arm isn't hovering up overhead like this, that shoulder is still getting great work. So don't worry about it. It will start to loosen up as you do this more often. So doing that pelvic clock every day and doing this rainbow every day, so good for the lower body, so good for the upper body. We're gonna, wherever you're at, we're gonna retrace that rainbow up overhead and bring your left palm on top of your right, and then we'll roll onto the back. You can take that blanket or cushion out from underneath you, just hips and shoulders so you're even on the mat. Hug the knees into the chest, and we'll roll side to side. So just rolling out the whole back body. Bring the knees to center, use your abdominals. We'll bring the feet down to the mat. Good, roll over onto your side, either side. Come up into hands and knees table pose. So we're gonna have our wrists under our shoulders, our knees under our hips, index fingers parallel with each other. We'll go into our cat breath. Exhale, round the spine up. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. So just moving the body with breath. See what your range of motion is at this point of your day. Exhale, round. When you round, pull the belly button up. Good. Inhale, now let the belly stretch. Heart slides forward, shoulders slide back. One more cat breath. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Now let's sit back into child's pose. Big toes barely touching. Let the knees separate apart a little bit. Going to bring the forehead down to rest. Maybe stack the hands on top of each other and then rest your forehead on the hands. Or the forehead can come down to the mat. Couple breaths into the low back, into the ribs, into the shoulders. child's pose, stretch the hands as far forward as they'll go. Elbows are up off the mat. We're going to stretch our side body a little bit. We're going to walk the hands over to the right off the mat. Tuck the chin. I'm going to keep the forehead off the mat, but the head's in between the arms, so I'm reaching to the right and I'm going to lean left. I'm leaning into the left shoulder, left rib cage, and slightly back into the left hip as I take some nice big breaths here. Pick up your head, look at the hands, walk them back onto the mat, walk them over to the left off the mat, tuck the chin, head in between the arms, forehead is up off the mat. As you reach left, you're going to lean right, lean into the right shoulder, lean into the right rib cage, and slightly back into the right hip. A couple of nice slow breaths here. Breathe into the low belly. Pick up the head, look at the hands, walk them back to the mat. And then bend the elbows. The knees are still wide for our child's pose. We're going to bend the elbows into that Sphinx pose for the arms. So the shoulders over the elbows, palms flat on the floor. We're going to take that right palm, slide it back in front of the right knee. The left arm, left palm stays down. And we're going to twist. We're going to lift that right shoulder. Inhale and lift up, opening, opening. So that right shoulder lifts. Neck is long. Big breaths into the torso, into the rib cage, into all those little muscles in between the ribs, the intercostal muscles. Big breaths. Good. Exhale, we're going to unwind. Bring the right elbow down, right palm down. Slide the left palm in front of the left knee. Let's open up. Inhale and lift that left shoulder. Turn to the left. Neck is long. Big breaths into the low belly, into the rib cage, into the shoulders. Keep pressing that left palm down as you lift the left shoulder up. Good. Let's come out with an exhale. So we're going to exhale, bring that left elbow down. Come back up into hands and knees table. Knees can come a little closer together. Wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We'll take our cat breath 3 times. Exhale, round the spine up, pull the belly button up. Inhale, arch the back. 2 more. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Come to neutral. We're going to go into downward dog. So walk the hands a handprint forward. Index fingers are still parallel with each other. Curl the toes under. Inhale. With your exhale, lift the hips up and then shift the weight of the body back. Let's walk it out a little bit. One heel lowers, other heel lowers. Getting a nice stretch in the backs of the legs, in the spine, in the shoulders. Look, bring the heels parallel or level with each other. Put a little bend in the knees, keep a little bend in the knees, and lift the tailbone a little higher. So we're letting that head be right in between the arms. Belly button pulls in and up. Little bend in the knees. We're pushing the floor away from us with the hands. Lift those shoulders away from the mat. Lift the shoulders away from the earlobes. Keep those legs strong, arms strong. Belly pulls in and up. We're going to come down to knees. Shift back into child's pose. Wobble the hips and shoulders a little side to side. Good. And then come up into a high kneeling pose. We're going to go into a gentle camel pose. So we'll come into a high kneeling pose. Let's curl the toes under. We'll bring the hands to the back of the thighs. As we have the hands on the back of the thighs, pull the shoulder blades together. Press the hips forward and lift the heart, lift the chest. So elbows pull in towards each other, shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other. The chin can lift a little bit. Keep pushing the hips forward as we open the whole front body. Good, and then exhale, we're gonna sit back on the heels. So keep the toes curled under, and we're gonna pull try to pull the toes all the way out. So uncurl that 4th toe and the pinky toe. They kind of sometimes wanna curl under, but try to have them on the mat, and we'll sit back on the heels. So this is a big stretch to the thighs. If it becomes too much stretch, you can lean a little bit forward on the hands. If it's feeling okay, then sit back on the thighs. It's a big stretch to the arches, to that plantar fascia tendon. So give it a little stretch there. Keep breathing. Anytime you can come forward, you can come out of it a little bit. Good. Come back up to that high kneeling. So the knees are going to be right under the hips. This time we're going to bring hands to our low back. So as if we had pockets, we're going to have our hands in our pockets here. I'm pulling my elbows in, squeezing shoulder blades together, belly pulls in and up. I'm pushing the hips forward towards that front edge of the mat, and I'm lifting the head slightly. Keep squeezing shoulder blades together, keep pulling elbows in, belly pulls in and up. We're opening the whole front of the body. Keep breathing, so don't hold the breath. Good, exhale, we're gonna come down, bring the bottom close to the heels, pull those toes, try to get all the toes, the pads of the toes touching the mat. And we'll sit back, hands on the thighs if that feels okay. You can always come forward to take that stretch out of the thighs and out of the arches. A couple breaths. We're going to come back into hands and knees table. So we'll flatten the toes out and then just tap the tops of the toes on the mat just to kind of get some circulation back into those toes. Good. So wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. 3 cat breaths. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, arch the spine. 2 more. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Good. Come to neutral. We'll take 1 more downward dog. Walk the hands a handprint forward, fingers spread nice and wide. Curl the toes under. Inhale with your exhale, lift up, shift back. Good. So you can either walk it out, one heel lowers, the other heel lowers. You can lift both heels and lower both heels at the same time, so it's a little different feel. Or you can just stay in a static, still downward dog. Do whatever feels right for you. A couple big breaths, that belly pulls in and up. Arms strong, legs strong. Good, and then come down to knees. Shift back into child's pose. Take a few wrist circles or wiggle the fingers. And then we'll wobble hips and shoulders a little side to side. Come up to hands and knees. We're going to go into a lunge. So we're going to bring the right foot forward. Right knee is going to be over the right heel. Left knee is going to scoot back a little bit. We're going to curl left toes under, lift left knee up. So we're in this lunge. From this lunge, we're going to work our way into a warrior 2. So we're in the lunge. We're going to drop the left heel down. And then take a look, line up the right heel and the left arch. I'm going to bring the right elbow to the right knee, and we're going to take this left arm like a windmill, and we're going to bring it forward and let it windmill us up into a warrior 2. So shoulders relax down, hips level, shoulders over the hips. The right knee is opening out towards the right edge of your mat. The back arch, that left arch, is lifting up a little bit. So press on the outside edge of the left foot to lift the left arch. Keep those shoulders relaxing, belly pulls in and up. Let's turn our head and look over the right fingertips. Good, spread the fingers. Nice and strong warrior. Reach those fingertips towards opposite ends of the room. Let's drop the arms. We're going to turn towards our right foot, and we're going to lift that left heel and pivot. Bring the hands down by your right foot. You're back into that lunge. Now drop the left knee down and bring the right knee back by the left. Come into hands and knees table, 3 cat breaths. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. 1 more. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Come to neutral. We're going to take that lunge and that warrior on the other side. Left foot's going to come forward. left knee over left heel, right knee scoots way back. So we're in this lunge. Curl the right toes under, lift the right knee up. Runner's lunge. Now we're gonna pivot. That right heel is gonna come down. So the arch side of my right foot is down. I'm gonna take a look. Left heel lines up with right arch. I'm gonna bring the left elbow to the left knee, and I'm gonna windmill the right hand up so that right arm reaches forward and it windmills and brings me up to a warrior two. I relax the shoulders down, fingers spread, left knee opens towards the left side of the mat, press on the outside edge of the right foot and lift the right arch up. Belly pulls in and up. Good, reaching for opposite ends of the room. Turn, look over the left fingertips. Good, strong warrior. Legs strong, arms strong, core is strong. Shoulders keep relaxing down. Beautiful, and we're gonna drop the arms and we're gonna turn to the left. So as you turn to the left, lift that back heel and pivot, bring the hands down by your left foot. We're gonna drop the right knee down, bring the left knee back by the right, into your hands and knees table. We're gonna take 3 cat breaths. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, arch. 2 more. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Last one. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Very nice. Come all the way down onto your back. Let's hug the knees into the chest. We'll roll side to side. So just kind of iron out the upper back, the low back, the mid back. Bring the knees to center. Use your abdominals. We're going to bring the feet down to the mat. Good. Let's stretch the left leg out on the mat. Hug the right knee into the chest. We'll go into a little twist. Right arm at your side, left hand on the right knee. Both feet are flexed. Inhale, with your exhale, bring the right knee over to the left. Right palm rolls up. Right shoulder rolls down. Big breaths into the low belly. Just notice where you might feel this twist. Just take a little scan of the body. Where do you feel the twist? Where can you maybe make a little adjustment in the twist to get a little more comfortable? Let's inhale, right knee up, right foot comes to the floor. Bend the left knee, adjust hips and shoulders so you're even on the mat. Right leg stretches out on the mat, left knee comes into the chest. Left arm at your side, palm up, right hand on the left knee. Both feet are flexed. Inhale, with your exhale, roll onto that right hip. Left palm turns up and left shoulder rolls down towards the floor. Big breaths into the low belly. Take a little scan of the body. See if there's any place you can adjust to get a little more comfortable. But the main thing is these big breaths into the low belly. Twists are so good for the body. Good for that digestion, elimination. Balancing left side, right side. Let's inhale, left knee up, bring left foot to the floor. Bend the right knee, adjust hips and shoulders. And then we'll stretch the legs out on the mat. Stretch the arms up overhead. Reach the right side a little longer, left side a little longer, right side a little longer, left side a little longer. Stretching that whole side body. Bring the arms down by your side and set up for a final relaxation. Get the hips and shoulders even on the mat. Legs can be stretched out, knees can be bent. You can have a blanket under the knees or blocks under the thighs. Start to tune into the breath. Start to tune into the feeling of the body on the mat. Let the eyes relax. Let the jaw relax. Let the shoulders relax. Let the back and the hips relax. The arms and the legs relax. Inhale, feel the belly rise. Exhale, feel the belly fall. You've taken some time for you, taken some time to tune into the breath, to tune into the body, to join the two, which is yoga, this union of breath and body and mind. Big breaths into the low belly. Keep relaxing and re-relaxing. And staying here in this spinal relaxation as long as you have time for, as long as it feels good for you. And if you're going to come out of final relaxation with me, wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Bring some movements to the arms and legs. We'll roll over onto our side. Take a couple breaths here on your side, just making that transition from the back to the side. Use your strong arms, come up nice and slow all the way up to seated. Sit comfortably for your legs. It can be cross-legged, kneeling, feet out in front of you. Tailbone moves back slightly, heart lifts slightly, belly pulls in and up slightly. Let those shoulders relax down and feel good and grounded down through your seat. Grow tall up through the spine. That belly pulls in, belly pulls up to help you grow up tall. Good. Feel the breath. Let the breath come into the low belly. Let the breath come back to normal, into the full body after coming up from your final relaxation. And then we'll bring the palms together, thumbs at the heart. Thank you for practicing with me. I can't wait to practice with you again. Namaste.